and I've become super familiar with the stores, the Wendy's, the bridge. Like, I'm very familiar with this area, especially I'm probably gonna come back in the daytime and see if my glasses might be in the grass or something. You just don't know, guys. I feel so irresponsible for losing those for sure, but what are you gonna do, right? Brittany, was I on TV again? Lordy, lordy, lordy. So yeah, I'm still seeing the comments about the questioning about burning down things. Honestly, if you never felt so angry about a cause that didn't directly happen to you, but it affected you so much that you just took on this whole nother persona of you need to have your voice heard and shit needs to change, then I just wouldn't worry about it. You know, like, you're gonna ask that question probably to the end of time. Oh, burn down the city and then what? Well, and then shit happens. If I may say so myself, the Confederate flag has been removed from NASCAR, which I didn't see happen. By the way, anybody watching NASCAR tomorrow is 3:30 on Fox. It is in Miami, and Bubba Wallace, I don't remember his number, but he will be racing. So do look out for that. Do support NASCAR, because think about it, guys. If they didn't do that, would we really have cared, or we really even thought twice about it? No, because we felt like that was them. At least I did in my ignorance of it. So I feel like they could use our support, especially being one of the only live sports that we actually have. It'll be pretty nice to show them some support and maybe get some games going on for these left turns and numbers, and get some fun gambling going on. So you understand? Also tomorrow night, guys, there's Mayor Keisha Bottoms, the mayor of Washington, the mayor of Chicago, and there's another mayor on there. 4 black women, 4 black mayors who are going to be interviewed on CNN tomorrow at 9:30. They will be talking about, oh God, what would they be talking about? They're basically talking about handling the COVID crisis, and also the protests that have been going on in their cities. So that should be really interesting, especially from Atlanta. Like, right now we just have so many questions for Keisha. I can't see shit. That's why my shit's all crooked, guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna put my toe under it. All right. So the fire has gone down. Those officers are right there. That's why I wasn't really worried. I was like, well, you know, I can just stand right here where the officers at, and if they get hit, I get hit. So we're good. If they feel like they were good right there, especially the fire department, you know, being the professionals they are. Thank you, guys. Also, if you didn't know, the Republican convention is in Jacksonville, Florida. The reason I'm mentioning that is because they have their platform the same as 2016, which was to condemn their current president. Now, I'm not sure at the time right now somebody's aware that that was the same format, but if they don't change it, then I think it's sending a clear signal that Republicans have pretty much had enough of Trump's bullshit. So this should be very interesting as well. Also, guys, like I said, I got a lot of people on here, so I've been putting it out there. If you guys are down for getting an RV and heading to that march in August, I'm all ears, man. I just really want anybody who can go to go. It's going to be very historical and a really big deal. A really big deal. I'm gonna get on the front of the side here.
Ain't a nigga got killed, yeah. There's plenty of niggas out here fucking with you now. Ain't a nigga got killed, yeah. Kill a nigga now. Kill a nigga in front of everybody. Fuck all that wait till nobody ain't see a nigga gotta have his phone out. Kill a nigga now. Bitch ass police, man. Look at him. Black, 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 black. This black on black crime right here. This fucking black on black crime. Then look at Mouse. Mouse got on a white hat. He different than everybody. Mouse got on a white hat. Y'all talking about motherfucking dope.
You're asking why not this and why not that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it is. It is strictly just about the protest. It doesn't matter what's burning, what's not burning. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, friends. Until you experience that anger of being discouraged as being an American, I mean, your question is kind of irrelevant, and I'm not saying that your voice is irrelevant, but your question of so burn this down, so burn that down, what's that going to change? Like I said, this is only a question I can answer to you if you're actually a person who's felt that injustice, who you feel that anger when something happens to somebody in your community. Period. And if that ain't you, then don't worry about it. You be good. You can keep asking that question. You're gonna get all kind of answers. You know, the best one I can give you is that one. And you can ask it again. You ask somebody different, but you're not gonna get the answer you want. There is no answer you want. Please block them. I want everybody to follow me as much as y'all can, including the people that have a different opinion about what's going on. Everybody has a right to their opinion. I would never ban anybody as long as you guys kind of keep it in a very civil manner. You might not understand, but at least you're watching. At least you're all witnessing. You know, just trying to keep the racist rhetoric down and just try to see our side of it. And I say our because I'm out here with the black community as well.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all taking all the money for this fancy ass shit that y'all not finna use. Y'all not finna use it. Look at them motherfuckers. Give that money to the schools. The kids are the future. Do not engage. Do not engage. Do not engage. Yes, brother. Do not engage. Hey, brother. Come back and lose. Do not engage, brother. Do not engage. Do not engage. Why? Why? Y'all look like y'all finna play rugby.
The protesters are the ones screaming. The protesters are the ones screaming. Do not engage. To everybody that's walking up to the officers. Basically, they want everybody to kind of keep their distance, keep protesting, but not get in their face. I can tell you this, guys. The first bottle swung, the first bottle thrown. They're coming after everybody. So you see, I'm in a spot right here where if they close up, I can kind of get out of here. If you're looking back at the Wendy's, you'll see a whole other squad of people coming, and then the Wendy's is right here. It's been put out, but it is completely blocked off by 5 fire trucks. 5 fire trucks. Also, I did see somebody post something that says, "Who will you call when you need help?" I think everybody should understand that a police officer is strictly really a responder. When you're in actual danger, there is no one. There is no one. So a police is a responder. So we should have them responding to things that are just way more, you know, up their alley as far as things to respond to. We should definitely, you know, maybe create different agencies to create better jobs so people can go out to the community without weapons to help police ourselves, you know?
I'm gonna take their ass out. Boy, you don't get your goddamn big bottom muscle, ugly ass boy. I know goddamn, you got picked on in school. You like goddamn school supermodel, ugly ass, boy. Boy, you goddamn talking that ugly ass, boy. Ugly ass, boy. Boy, you ugly as fuck, boy. You look like a whole trash can up out of this bitch. Ugly ass, boy. Little shield ass, boy.
Y'all scary.
Boy, I'm gonna get on y'all ass. I'm trying to tell you. Boy, goddamn, them big ass monster boots your ass got on. I'm gonna take y'all ass out. You just ugly as hell. Don't even damn say nothing. You.
What's that make sure?
I just don't want nobody to get hurt now. I just don't want nobody to get hurt now. Fuck 12. I just don't want nobody to get hurt. They ain't gonna touch nobody. Why we doing touch them? I just don't want nobody to get hurt now.
Fuck your ass.
They murdered him. Look at me. They murdered him, and you know it. Y'all know it. He was running away. He was running for his life, and you took it from him. You took it from him. Fuck you.
Please, y'all back up.
Let's back up, y'all, please.
Murderer.
John Reynolds, uneducated people, they obviously don't have to work tomorrow. That was a very unnecessary comment. All these people are from everywhere. I mean, these are everybody from everywhere, but I bet you can't pick out who's a doctor, who's a lawyer in this crowd, and they're out here. You better believe it. So unnecessary comment for sure.
I understand, because they got you enslaved. You just as big of a slave as we are. But they using you to continue to enslave us. I know that shit got to hurt, baby. You won't even look me in my eyes long because you feel it. You feel it. And I love you, and I'm going to pray for you. And I hope that you send a good word to your people and get them to stop treating us like that. Because maybe they'll listen to you. I'm not going to touch her. She is a black woman. I'm not going to touch her. I'm going to pray for her. And I hope that you can talk to these men.
Heard that, Jonathan. I'm proud of you.
That's with you. And make them change. That's all we want them to do is to change. Stop killing us for no reason. We deserve better than this. We should not have to fear if we gonna die if y'all pull up. Y'all are supposed to be here to protect us. I shouldn't have to fear for my life looking at you. Looking at y'all, I feel like I'm halfway in the grave. Halfway in the grave in front of y'all. I shouldn't have to feel like that. And you shouldn't have to feel like you have to feel because you got a job. Your job shouldn't make you feel like that. You shouldn't have to regret how you feel because you want to feed your family. You shouldn't have to regret going to work, but you have to because you got to feed your family too. You got to feed your family too. So I understand that. I understand. I don't want you to lose your job. I don't want to take money from you off of your job. I don't want to take money from you. But what I want you to do is encourage them. Encourage them to do right. And tell somebody else. We ain't got where God got a black? This area is hell. Where God got a black man?
They killed your cousin, Officer Brooks.
Everybody knows.
That was your cousin they killed down there, Officer Brooks.
That was crazy.
I'll take the second vote. My brother's somebody else.
Not be killed for sleeping in front of you. We got nothing wrong.
No, that's fucking tears. No, that's tears because you know what we need to know. You know what's wrong.
This gas station is open behind me. I need some Gatorade. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Right.
Y'all supposed to be protecting and serving. You need to tell me y'all can't answer our questions. Is it okay? We didn't kill a black man.
Look who finally came to the party. They finally got here when shit was on fire, right? Appreciate the media for finally coming out, yeah. Glad they got in a safe space to come out. Fire went out, they good.
What kind of shit is this? Enough is enough. Y'all need to stand up.
I see the comment of you got to feel for the cops that don't want to be there, also have to put food on the table for their families. Steve, I absolutely agree, because you'll get a lot of people asking, like, why are the black people in the front lines as officers? And you always got to admit that Atlanta's a dominantly black community, so officers are going to be predominantly black as well. So black officers will be in the front lines. So it's not a real thing I would actually mention as far as the black officers being on the front line. I mean, that's a lot of black officers. So.
We don't give a damn about y'all. If it was y'all that got killed.
But yeah, I do agree. It must be a very complicated life for them. It must be. And a lot of them would tell you they joined the force to make a difference, to be out here policing their own communities.
Y'all should be out here standing with us.
You should be fighting with us. Fighting for these people that died. They were unarmed.
Y'all black people protesting for y'all. If somebody killed y'all for no fucking reason, and y'all sitting up here standing and not saying shit like y'all ain't got goddamn nothing to say.
You just standing here all proud and shit. You can't even say nothing for help. Justice for these people. Not justice for the police department.
If a motherfucker that don't look like you kill you, guess what? We're gonna be out here standing against these motherfuckers that don't look like you for killing you too.
We're supporting these black people, including you. This has been going on for 400 years. And it's our time to be heard. Fight with us, not against us.
I would totally ask the officers questions. However, they don't really respond much, so I just move on. She's got to stop calling me. She's got to stop calling me. It doesn't respect what I do, and I'm gonna wind up. Oh, there's an old girl who put one trick over here, but a good trick.
Getting roof killed. How many fucking people? And that guy, they took his ass to fucking Burger King. This man fell asleep on the at a fucking weekend roof, and they killed him. For what?
He did nothing.
Dylan Roof took the fucking Burger King when he murdered and massacred the whole fucking church.
Now, if it was a white person, then we do all this thing to get justice for him. That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm on the same thing. Somebody's blowing up my phone right now. I really need them to stop calling. If anybody knows my son's mother, just let her know what I'm doing, and please go away right now. Blowing me up. Right, calm down. I love how they say it's about your child, but they won't text what it is, so that way you can see how serious it is. Because I'm not going to get on the phone just to talk to you. Excuse me. Out here in history, man. One thing, man, my son's been worried about me being out here, so you know, it's going to be a late bedtime, but I got to wake him up, let him know I'm okay for sure. Levi's my baby, y'all. That's my 5-year-old. He is half black, half white. So his growing up in this climate is a bit different. His white family is basically very country, very rebel, down south, Bible Belt. They've always been nice to me, but I do see some of the things that some of the family post and some of the things they've said in the past, and it gets rough when you're dealing with such a you know, an interracial child and interracial family. You know, I don't really try to pick any battle. I don't even try to set up a battle with them. Nobody comes for me, and I don't come for them. I have a pretty good understanding with the family. However, you know, him being a mixed child, it's definitely different. Really, I want to see if this gas station is open or not. I'm so thirsty. And all the water's down that way. If they didn't throw the water already. Would y'all be mad if I went into the store with this whole thing? Like, yo.
That motherfucker.
What is she doing out here? What is she doing out here, man?
No, man.
She's drawing attention away. Please go away.
She's just walking up and down.
I know. Let's go somewhere, girl. Chant or something. The fuck? That lady just made us uncomfortable, basically. Like, what are you doing? It's like, you're over here flexing your ass. Like, okay, we get it. Guys, stay right here. Stay right here. This store open? I got to get a Gatorade real quick. There's some other photographers and shit over here. It's funny too. Guys, sorry. You guys got to give me a break real quick. I'm going to drink me some Gatorade. I'm getting so parched. So parched. Just going to have to go in with the whole damn live. Y'all going to have to stand in line and everything. I'm going to wait till that line goes down a bit. But we can see what's going on over here. Oh. It's too long of a line, actually. It's like 4 or 5 people. No, somebody trying to play the goddamn lottery while fucking buildings are on fire and people are protesting outside. You still want to play the lottery? Get your ass out of the way. Oh, wait. There might be some shit over here. Hold on. It looks like complete trash, but it might be something that's trash. God damn it. Let me just see if this other one's open, yeah? Hold on. Oh, man. So that's why I've been thirsty, man. Every time I go to get something, man, there's something happening. Let me get in here. Lots of weed smoke.
Every time I leave the house, I'm in fear of my life. Every time I leave my house, I'm in fear of my life.
Don't be scared trying to protect our life. We got scary people trying to protect us. We pay their bills. We pay their taxes. We wear their outfits.
What demons,
but we have nothing to protect
right
us.
now. You're serving demons right now and devils. You guys are devil worshippers. Yeah, you guys are serving wickedness to the fullest. You're serving corporate.
Absolutely, Levi. I didn't expect to come here today. I really didn't.
I got a $6.2 trillion bill. You guys ain't got nothing. You're protecting their wealth and their black burgers. They're killing us in these streets. They'll kill you. They'll kill you. Out of your blood. They'll kill you. They'll kill each and every one of y'all.
Here's that girl that made us uncomfortable. What is going on here? Did the peaches have to be out today? Did the peaches have to be out today? I think she woke up and had to come protest. You understand? It could be like that sometimes. They're not trying to lock her up though. They're not trying to lock her up. I don't know if you guys have actually watched Atlanta protest. Besides when the college kids that got tased and dragged out of the car, you really won't see much of this. You know, snatching up kids and people like that. But if it's near the Capitol or the governor's mansion, it's a chance. But out here, they're letting everybody protest. They have all the streets blocked off from every corner. They put out the Wendy's. It's been nothing crazy so far as the movement goes. Yeah, I mean it was at 12. But we're going in and out. What you got? Instagram. This Facebook.
They might try to kill me. They got to turn the camera. They might try to kill me. Look.
Hang on. Go back a little bit. Right there.
Y'all follow me, man. NBT Car, your Instagram. NBTCARI Car. C-A-R-I. These folks getting active out here. Hold on. Getting active.
Michael Floyd, I am exhausted, brother. I am exhausted. I was exhausted this morning when I was trying to call out everybody for having a barbecue and a damn good time while we just had another black man shot. So I'm really exhausted.
Power to the people, man. That's all I gotta say, man. Hey, man, it's time for a change, man. These officers corrupt out here, man. They get these badges, they think they hard, they tough. Hey, man, take that shot, man. Stop hiding behind them goddamn badges and shit, man. Go some balls, man. Hey, man, real ones we got here in the streets. We ain't give a damn about no bitch, none of that shit. We out here, no cap. Y'all love shit.
All right, buddy. If you also watch my streams, I basically let anybody plug themselves in. I support anybody trying to hustle, guys. Now, if you're out here trying to use Q-tips, I can't have your back on that. But if you got something that makes sense and it's logical and it's gonna propel your dreams, please shout out to me. Hit me in my DM. If you think you can help me out in my channel and in what I got going on, just let me know. I definitely, first thing I need is a loctician. Let me get this gas off my.
South American?
All right, clean that up a bit. But yeah, y'all just let me know. I think I had so many moments, guys. Oh, excuse me. I had so many moments from these past protests. My number one moment would definitely have to be the young man that was getting kicked off of the barricade because he didn't have a press pass, and so I gave him mine. Right now, my number two moment is there was a march going on that I was behind, and a white man on a bike decided to yell, "Go Trump USA," and abruptly got punched in the face. That was awesome. Number three is probably my first night when a mannequin leg kept showing up in my footage as cars are burning around me, broken glasses everywhere. There's a mannequin leg continuously showed up in my shot, and it traveled and it made it back. It was weird, but there's a lot more things that happened. Probably one of the ones that saddened me the most was a white gentleman came with a tan suit and an American flag on a long staff, and immediately they were on his ass, and so they snatched that flag down and they burned it in his face. I'm not gonna lie, that made me that discouraged me because he wasn't down there for any kind of pro-Trump. He was actually quite pro-black, and it didn't matter. The people that were down there that day were only seeing red because I got tear gas later on that day as well. We're gonna see what this group over here is talking about. Sorry. You good.
I thought it's somebody has to be like it. So why are we killing for no fucking reason?
I can't hear, bro. Let me tell y'all something. I believe in effective communication. All right, and I know how to speak. I public speak all the time. All right. I believe in one person speak, somebody listen. This is a very uncomfortable conversation, and I don't mind having an uncomfortable conversation. I do it all the time. All right. I'm from here. All right. I know what's up. All right. But what we won't do is yell at me or any of you. Okay. That ain't how we listen. That's not how we listen. Okay. So everybody agree on that. If somebody's speaking, let him speak, man. Just like y'all want to speak, you want to speak, they should allow you to speak, correct? Correct. So since we're here, we can talk about it. We will all talk at one, somebody will talk at one time. Somebody else is going to listen, okay? Now, going back to you, right? In some form or fashion, all right, you always got to start at the foundation of it, okay? And we all also have to assume responsibility for officers, myself, and civilians, right? Before I got this uniform, I was over there. I was a civilian too, right? I know what's going on. When I take the uniform on, when I drive my truck, all right, I'm black. Before and after, okay?
I want you to answer that question.
I got you. So listen, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this. It's a nasty gray area. It's like running away. You asked me my opinion. It's a nasty gray line, okay? It's a real nasty gray line. You ask me, I'm going to give it to you. If you disagree, we can move on to the next question and agree to disagree. And I'm okay with that. All right? I don't mind that. You don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you. And damn sure he don't got to agree with you. Okay? I'm pretty sure everybody around here got jobs. And I know y'all had some issues with y'all coworkers before. And in that conversation, either he or she did agree with you or not. And I bet you throw them deuces up and kept it walking.
Right.
Exactly. Yes or no?
Gotta get your money.
I'm telling you this. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care nothing about that. You ask me my perspective, we're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna keep it pushing. I ask you your perspective, we're gonna keep it. Because I'm talking to him. And I'm listening because you really came late. Yeah, came late.
He said it, bro.
All right.
But I'm saying he didn't answer the question.
Nah, he come.
I commented on his question. The thing is, what happens is in our community, when you're speaking, not just you, but you want me to agree.
Nah, I got it, bro.
I want it.
It's cool. Let's keep it moving because I'm looking forward to
Right.
it. Hold on, let him finish because he's about to answer about the day before.
Second. Hold on one second.
Hold on. Let's stay focused. Communication.
I'm with you. Please, get him.
So the question is, after the tase, he ran away. So he was not a threat. You know what I'm saying? Because he ran away.
Okay.
And he was not a threat to the officer.
Can I ask you a question?
So I'm asking you to answer that.
Okay.
How can you deadly force when somebody's running away?
Okay. Hold on one second.
What you gotta say, my brother?
Y'all walking up right
I appreciate that, bro. This is what we want. We want them to be human, man. We want the police to be human.
So listen. So again, see what's happening. I can't hear. So look, I'm gonna tell you this. Here's the thing. The dudes went hands on, right? That failed. That failed. All right. They tased him on the ground. That failed. Yes or no?
To apprehend.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. Let's go back to the very beginning. Let's go back to the beginning.
They apprehend him.
They failed to apprehend him with the taser. That's correct? Is that fail? They on the ground, they fight, officer got punched in the face. Did that fail? Did the taser fail at that time? All right. Okay, so that failed, correct? What's the next step?
No.
All right. So again, all right. So listen. Hold on. Wait. I asked you your perspective. I didn't give you mine. I'm listening. I'm listening.
You want us to answer your sentence, so you don't have it in your mouth.
Let me talk, y'all.
All right. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I can easily, what I can do, and nobody ain't gonna like what I got to say. I got you. You next. I can easily put this mask on, put this shield on, and shut the fuck up. I promise you, I can. I can shut the fuck up and be right here, and y'all face. So if we're gonna talk, we can talk. What we're not gonna do is interrupt each other. Everybody agree to that? My guy. Give me 1 second, okay? Go ahead.
So you said your next procedure after the tase is to shoot?
No, I did not say that.
So what's proper de-escalation?
What's the proper procedure after the tase?
I'm gonna tell you this. Me being black, I know how to communicate. I know how to police my community. I know how to talk to people.
You do.
Right? Oh, so y'all talking about me.
That's what we want in our hood. We want people that came from. We want people over there who went to those. That's what we want.
I can't hear everybody. I can't hear everybody.
I'm sorry, bro.
When I get done, I'm
Officer that here start
Bro,
screaming,
only thing I can provide to all y'all right here is the truth. All right, so listen, I'm gonna tell you this: you can't go against me, bro. Because if you tell me, bro, you lying, I'm gonna put this shit on, I'm putting my mask on, I'm gonna shut the fuck up. You just told me, listen to me. You just told me to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Okay, but let me explain real quick, right?
Sure.
We both have the floor.
Indeed.
Why has no lawyer, nobody talked about the fleeing felon rule?
You said why? I can't answer that. I don't know.
So why did you tell him that's why he was able to get away is because of the fleeing felon rule?
I never said that.
But I'm just saying, but is that a reason why these cops get off, the fleeing felon rule?
I'm not certain. I don't know, bro. I'm not in the courtroom with these folks. I'm not.
That's a good answer.
Well, shit, that's the truth. Shit.
So I'm just asking about the deadly force.
Hey,
Y'all know
hey,
the fleeing felon
so,
rule. The fleeing felon rule is a rule where if you are a felon and look like a felon, then he can shoot you.
No, I'm just saying it takes 8 weeks to be a police
That's why
officer, but it's
Actually,
8 years. Nobody
actually, no. I can clear it up for you.
How long it take?
All right. So in the state of Georgia, you have to have 408 hours to be the police. All right. 408. Right. Guess what APD said you gotta have? 408 plus 396.
What other training do I undergo?
Now, if you want to know that, they have this thing called people. Before I came to police, I rode along with 3 agencies to see if I really want to do this shit, right? And everyone out here can do the same. So I put myself in their shoes. That's what I did. That's it. White shirt, what's up?
Listen, with all this going on right here, protesting, black men get killed by the police.
Yeah.
When the police was called at witness that night, why don't the police take precaution? Like, you know what? I know what is all going on. I'm not going to necessarily arrest this guy. Wake him up, send him home. Hey, bro, just go home.
Bro.
And tell witness, look, chill out for a minute.
I 1,000% agree with you. 1,000. Right? I want. Hey.
Niggas broke out here. It don't really like
Say what?
I 1,000% agree with you. Okay? You understand? Is that understood? Right? But guess what though? Just like these people right here, they got jobs, right? Everybody. And I'm certain everybody not like you. And everybody not gonna make the same decision as you, will they? No, they won't.
They're not no petty ass racist white cop.
I'm gonna tell you this, I ain't never experienced it before. I ain't never experienced a white cop ever in my life. But I tell you one thing, what happened to George Floyd should not be tolerated and should have never happened. If that was beside me, that would have never went down. Somebody told me, I think when they were down there at CNN, they was like, motherfucker, you lying. Okay. Who am I to make you believe what I believe? Nobody. I'm nobody to make you believe
I
what I
honestly don't think you was honest.
It would never went down.
I honestly think a bunch of these APD officers weren't allowed to go down.
They won't.
That was a surprise for me to see that last night.
I agree.
With that close.
See, do you think that we should have them like scared, like I don't know how to say this right, but like scared white boys in our neighborhood?
Right.
Bro, this the street, bro, this the hood right here.
Give me 1 second. Hey, my guys. Hey, for y'all that's right here, y'all can do me a favor? Yeah, push that way for a second. Cause I don't want them to come in. I got y'all. All right. Y'all just stay right there for me.
We're not hostile. We good over here.
No, y'all good.
I want to hear what you got to say.
No problem. Hey, I want to give somebody else an opportunity to answer questions because they have. Okay. Sure.
Okay, there were 48 deaths in Atlanta since 2002 from the police.
Okay.
Now, you know,
Okay, before you answer-
I ain't done answering, but I'm not done with my question. So, knowing that these things are going on in the same police department that you work in, how can you feel comfortable working along people that you know for a fact do some sideways crooked shit? 48 people, that's a lot of people since 2020. 2020, it ain't even a whole year yet.
You said 48 people killed.
48.
Now, where you get that source from?
TMZ.
TMZ.
They showed it. No. I got it off the news.
Okay,
I googled it. I googled it.
Can I
You
say?
Google
Hold on 1 second.
I stand by that. You can
Hey,
Google
listen. Listen to me. If you look to your left, right, they're throwing water bottles at us.
You answer my question?
Hell yeah, but how am I doing that?
It's water.
Conversation got short, guys. Got cut short because bottles are getting thrown. I'm gonna stay behind them. But that means the bottle's gonna come my way, so I gotta keep looking up. So if my angle gets a little crazy, excuse me. Got hit with 4 different bottles today. Everything but the head, so I was good. As you see, they walk by me like I'm the Black Ghost. I will stay a Black Ghost. Blasper the Black Ghost is where I'm gonna be out here today. Yeah, them niggas is deep. Excuse my Swahili. Woo! Now she's all pissed off because she didn't get her question answered. I think she has the facts a little wrong. Maybe I think what she was trying to say is 48 shooting incidents involved with police murders. I think in 2020 is what she meant to say. And he was asking, where did you get that information from? I also seen this information, but I cannot confirm for what I've seen it. But I know if you got your information from TMZ and TMZ alone, it has to be fact checked. Absolutely. Not saying that TMZ cannot get reputable, but they do some shady journalism for me. They also do some very unimportant journalism to me. So I would always fact check these people, man.
Somebody doing violence and started stepping.
Shit is still getting thrown. I almost got hit then.
Let me call the police. There's a suspicious black guy out here. I'm gonna run because I'm terrified for my life. Will I die? I don't know. Nobody knows. And that's America. That's what APD stand for. Shoot a nigga in the back when he running away. That's what y'all standing up for? I could never be an officer. I couldn't do it. Maybe if I was a white guy. Come on, man. Even though I still can't do it. I don't got no white privilege.
Those cops are leaving because they don't have riot gear on. So I'm gonna go back to where the riot gear is.
It's on 3 light.
Thank you everybody for following. Don't forget to add me on Bad and Red Media, BAN. BADNRED Media. Good Lord. Like, I really haven't had to find no bud tonight because, oh, Jesus. There's not one area I haven't walked through and just completely engulfed in smoke. That is Atlanta for you, baby. Doesn't matter what we're doing. Doesn't matter what we're doing, somebody rolled up one. Somebody, somewhere. Whew, smells good though. Get that officer's name? Shit, he's in riot gear and then he's just scrambled, so I have no clue. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about that one. There's no way I would get his name. I actually met him before I think on my fourth or fifth stream, he wanted me to make sure I got his good side. I think there's a water in here. No water. No water, never mind. I was almost there. I thought I had the thirst quenched.
If you are white, they value your life. Y'all just gonna keep killing us. White kids. Y'all ain't I hope y'all some vitamins. I hope y'all got some rest. Call your wives, call your kids.
Juicy fruit. That's what I'm about to call him, juicy fruit.
I want one that's true. They got life protection. We don't have nothing. We have nothing but the
Say something about the I want you to say something about the
They still gonna shoot. They still gonna shoot. They gonna shoot. They gonna shoot. They can't wait out. They wait out. The time is on time. The time is on time. Yeah, we can't wait.
They're so real. They're so real.
We're trying to unify.
Hey, you got kids? Come on. You got kids. Nothing. You gonna move until the white man say something, bro. That's his master, bro. Slave master, bro. You a slave, bro.
He's setting y'all ass up to get fired.
Y'all talking, bro. Y'all won't move until the white man say something, bro. You're not gonna move until the white man say something, bro. Watch.
We know goddamn where your kids are.
You wanna go home?
They make it sound good. You know what I'm saying? Slave patrol. Come on, man.
We down, Sean, dude.
It's down shame, bro.
We got him.
Why you won't quit your job? Find another one.
We got him.
You do it every day, man.
Y'all got this goddamn song.
What you talking about? Job.
They put in their songs, bro. They put in their songs. They put in their songs, bro.
My kids shouldn't be
I get scared. That's how the police get behind us. We can swear we get scared, bro.
Let me talk real quick. Do y'all know what the first police department was back in the day? Fucking slave patrol. That's what it was.
GOBRAVOS 18. GOBRAVOS 18.
Slave patrol. Especially if they only kill a nigga.
GOBRAVOS 18.
Can y'all sleep?
Come on, now y'all don't want to talk.
Confirm.
Now y'all don't want to talk.
I can't sleep at night.
Do you care? Do you care when Trayvon died?
GOBRAVOS 18.
Did you?
I can't sleep at night.
He cared. You cared, but come on.
How can I sleep? How can I sleep at any given moment? Me or one of my family members could be shot down. Come on, man. How can I sleep?
I was in the chair though.
How can I sleep? They can kill your. They can kill your people too. They can kill your people too. Just because y'all police don't make y'all exempt. Guess what? Guess what?
We got to find y'all ass.
The police just killed my cousin in New York. I can't do nothing about it.
My thing
You got
is,
caught a crossfire.
My thing is, right is right, wrong is wrong.
That shit was power.
Niggas stupid at night, bro. You know what I'm saying? You took on your wife. You know what I'm saying? They apologize. You know they ain't finna do nothing. But you know what I'm saying? But you understand that because, you know what I'm saying, you from here, you've been around us. You know what I'm saying? But like, people that ain't been around it, so they would grab their guns.
They get ready for this shit to be over.
Me as a person, you know what I'm saying?
They get ready for it. You gotta go home, go to sleep, and then that happens. Like we've been doing.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything that I ever been scared of, I try to 2020. Because like, I'm scared.
That shit's still going on.
So it's me against them. Niggas is wild as now. People that's heroes to me not communities. And now they're scared. It's me people that got courage. Like what y'all been saying. Come to our community and talk to us. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I do appreciate y'all. I got shot in my chest last year, and the first person that was on the scene that saved me, I ain't had nothing to do with it. It was a police officer. A police officer came and put his hand on my chest. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? And y'all.
Okay, guys, I've been looking at the comments a little bit here, and there's a lot of people saying some pretty stupid stuff and ignorant as far as just being a little racist here. What I can ask is that I am not going to ban anybody from here because I want everybody's voice to be heard. However, if we could not give the people with so many negative and racist comments so much energy, let's just move on from it. It happens. There's a lot of people in this chat. A lot of people have feelings about this. I want everybody to have their right of voice here. But I did ask to everybody just to be as least amount of racist as you can, because while I am asking for everybody to ignore the comments of negativity, I am asking for people that see these comments happening to look at these people's profiles, see what jobs they're working at, see their professions, and see if we can call them out. Because honestly, it's really uncalled for, and if that's the way you feel about it, well, then let's see the way your employer feels about it, or whoever employs you, or if you are a boss or something and you're on here saying these such things. I think it needs to be shed a light. There's nothing we can do about this chat except for cuss your ass out. But what I won't stand for is people with their racist bullshit on these comments. Like, rein that shit in. I mean, keep coming with it, but I want everybody to be looking at the people that are sending these comments. Look at their profile pictures, because most of them won't share their personal stuff. Will have their pages on private. But if you guys know of these people and they're over here just spreading just really inconsiderate bullshit, just please go ahead and just find their profile, see if we can just get them put on notice, repost all their shit, whatever it takes. But let's lady move. But yeah, there's just like a lot of people that's just saying a lot of really it's just unnecessary things. If this is not what's your cup of tea, then move on. But I ask for those who are making these comments that you make your pages available, so that way that makes you look a lot more brave, and definitely like you're definitely here for the First Amendment. You're watching it, so make your pages public if you are going to put these racist rhetorics on my comments. That way everybody can see who you are, and you can stand by your word. But other than that, don't give them energy, guys. Just take notes of who they are. Just take notes of who they are. Exposed culture isn't the answer. I didn't say it was. However, my favorite thing right now is exposing people as racist and getting them fired. So, yeah, I love that. I love that. Absolutely. Your livelihood and everything because you want to be a racist is exactly what I feel like. 400 years of slavery, another 100 years of suffering, racial inequality. Yeah. So a racist losing their job right now is not even going to make me feel a little bit better about the whole thing that's happened to our community and the African American nation as a whole. So, oh well on that one. Yeah, so you guys can screenshot what they said, get their profile, but just know I'm all the way down for cancel culture, for fucking exposure code, whatever the fuck y'all calling it, which it shouldn't even have a label to it. It just should be nobody likes a racist. Nobody likes a racist, and the blacks are here. They're here. We're turning up for every bit of rights that we have to gain. Everything. We want the respect. I no longer want to be told how to interact with police. I definitely want the police to be told how to interact with me properly, safely, and respectfully. You know, a lot of people are just out here just want to be respected. Just want police to be accounted for. Accountability is another thing. It just shouldn't be fired from any job or anything like that, guys. So, Mama, you got some water, juice, anything? I was almost there. I probably got to go into the store, man, but there's a long line every time I walk in there. See there, Jimmy, Audrey, Martin Bell, shit like that. Did you steal some burgers before you burned the Wendy's down? At least, like, come on, man. And I don't want to call people names and shit like that, but that's just unnecessary. Like, if you can't, like, come on, man. I'm really hoping you got your profile pic on total public. Please feel free to say anything, as long as you make that profile public. Please, go ahead, please. Somebody says I love BBC. Actually, I watch Doctor Who all the time. I love Doctor Who, and I know that's not what the BBC you're talking about, but I'm gonna keep it on that end. I'm all for protest. This is a riot. Currently, what are you seeing? Where are you seeing people riot at? Also, there hasn't been any looting. Also, there hasn't been any illegal entrance to any other building. So, who's ever calling this a riot? That's a false narrative that you're gonna have to keep to yourself in the chat. Lighting shit on fire is a part of protest. It's been going on since LA and Detroit. Check your history. And things did get done, trust me. Right now, we're at the exit by University Ave. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, of course. Instead of exposing, how about educate them? I think that's what we're out here protesting about. So at this point, instead of listening to people or seeing what's going on around them, this is the education. And if they can't, and if it's so hard to understand about how not to be racist, how to not hate a person based off the color of their skin, then they're way past educating them. I feel like they should just be exposed and kept away from the rest of us human beings who can accept each other for who we are. Making excuses for people to be criminals, sure, as you're making excuses for people to be racist. Moving on. Like I said, guys, you see these people with these racist-ass comments, just go ahead and expose. You have my complete authorization to look into these people's profile. Please, if you also have something racist to say or some bullshit being counterproductive to what we're talking about out here, then go ahead and make your profile please public. I am here for freedom of speech. All you want. You can actually disagree with burning down stuff and everything else, but however, I don't want you with your racist rhetoric. I will not tolerate it. Come too far for these protests and everything's going on. Just remember all the people sending these racist comments that NASCAR literally took down Confederate flags from being involved in their events and their races. Do you understand? Between college football and NASCAR, the South had those two sports to back on and to share their the nice racist emblems and little symbolisms of just being pieces of shit. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you guys. Please follow, please share. My personal page is Bad and Red Media. That's my YouTube and Twitter, and my Facebook as well. I'm always out here. I have more live streams. I have great memories of things out here. I will be trying to condense more and trying to do highlights soon. But I've been out here in these streets so much that I barely had time for myself. I finally went to IKEA, got myself a lot of studio furniture and to rearrange my room a little bit so that way I can start being more productive. I lost my glasses tonight. I felt so adultish getting that done, man. I got insurance and everything for those glasses. I'm gonna zoom in and see what's going on right here real quick. Yeah, please guys, if they're doing racist comments or saying things that we know that are racist rhetoric, just please don't reply to them. Just go ahead and see what that profile says and keep it moving, because there's only so much you can say in this chat before everybody's just had enough of you and we're just going to ignore you. We're not going to ignore the racism of this world, but right now in this chat it's more about this protest than anything racist or anybody who doesn't see why everybody's out here has to say. It is the Red King 86 on Cash App. The Red King 86. Thank you so much for anybody who's helped me out with my glasses. Yeah, you know, that's how I felt about them. I just got them, and I just feel so irresponsible for not bringing my case and not having them still on me. I changed book bags today. I left the Gatorade at home because I thought the best I was going to do today was just go to Centennial Park and come home. I was actually out there, and I was angry about a lot of people out there, like, you know, eating and fellowshipping, which would have been great, but last night happened, and I felt like that everybody's protest that was all around the city should have been canceled and made into one protest about this young man that died last night. So there's that. Still right here at University Ave. I was just trying to take a minute from being in the crowd. Still ain't got nothing to drink. Still got to piss like a mug. But I'm also still out here. Lost about 3,000-4,000 of you guys. I think what I'm going to do, though, is go down to the Wendy's and see the aftermath on it, and then make my way back up here. All right, Antonio, we got junk removal on here. Like I said, guys, you want to plug yourselves in on my chat? Plug yourselves in on my chat, especially my black owners, especially my people that support black owners. You know, no matter what race you are, just make sure y'all got a loctician for my hair in here, and make sure y'all DM me if y'all can do good hair. Also DM me if you feel like there's something you want to contribute to all this. Basically, I had some friends. Everybody went in on a bike for me. I got those. I got a new desk. I got a new water bottle because I lost that at a protest as well. And everything else, I'm just going to do business cards and make sure I'm getting my platform built completely up. So now I'm going to go in front of the Wendy's, going to see how it looks. You can just smell the crispiness of this guy. Now, I know this BP was afraid of getting burnt down, but I really need to hope they got something to drink and they're open right now. I'm like, please, I'm thirsty. This is the same lady that was down at MLK. If you don't know, she has no, they're closed. She has a gong that she uses, and she sages the area. Say his name, guys. Rashad Brooks.
This shit.
Not sure what time the gas station was supposed to close.
That's right, and that I'm going to assume is a safety call because the fire was clearly burning for, it's unclear how long, at least 15 minutes, with visible flames shooting through the sky, and fire departments always want to get to a scene quickly. They pride themselves on how quick they can respond to a fire, so a choice to delay putting out this fire clearly was a part of a strategy to try to minimize any kind of risks. But the firefighters are here now. They have plenty of police protection as they do their jobs, and it seems to be working if the goal is to clear the intersection of protesters. They are moving onto the sidewalks and off of the streets. I'm sure warnings are being given right now, and at some point, the people who don't comply, they will be told that if they continue to not comply, they will be arrested. They will be taken off with the zip ties and they'll be detained. But yeah, the firefighters are here, Justin, and this is the first time I've seen them since I got here at about 10 o'clock. Well, I think the concern is the gas stations, definitely, since there are 3 of them in this intersection here. There are some industrial buildings down the street. From my vantage point, it's hard to tell exactly how close they are, but I'm sure, especially since all the people are here near the gas stations, they wanted to try to make sure this fire didn't spread to the gas stations. Thankfully, it didn't, and right now, as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing a lot of smoke, but no fire, so that could be a sign that the fire is dying down thanks to the efforts of the firefighters. Yeah.
Check. 1098-765 4321. The Wendy's good. All right, perfect. All right, coming to us now. Yeah, Brittany, sorry about that. What you're looking at now is the Wendy's is still on fire. We still have not seen Atlanta fire trucks be able to make it over to that area. From what I'm seeing from where we are, it looks like there are more people than before over in that area, closer to the Wendy's. When the Wendy's first caught on fire, we sort of saw everyone running away from that area as the fire grew, but it looks like people are starting to move back into that area. Over here on this side of the interstate, we're starting to see traffic back up. There's nowhere to go. People can't go towards the Wendy's and they can't get on the interstate, and they're not able to get off of the interstate. So we're just sort of seeing people stopped here. For a while there, cars were turning around and going the other way, but I don't know if we can see the cars here. Everyone is just stopped and that traffic is backed up. And you can see Georgia State Patrol there does have that roadway blocked off. And of course, people are walking up to try and get a closer look. Again, that Wendy's where the shooting happened is still on fire. Tonight, we've watched that fire grow. And it looks like more people are over in that area now on the ground. And of course, a pretty large police presence is out here as well. So we're just sort of waiting to see what happens. We're waiting to see if the fire trucks are going to be able to make it over there. We're waiting to see if police are going to do anything. And we'll, of course, keep you updated throughout this newscast. Brittany.
Okay.
Rick, that's right. I'm not sure who started that fire. We just know that at one point, everyone just sort of ran over to that Wendy's, and then shortly after, we saw a little bit of smoke and heard of a small fire that was inside of the restaurant. Is from what we saw. We, of course, don't know where exactly that fire started, but people were throwing things at the Wendy's, and then that's when we saw a smaller fire that eventually grew into what we're seeing now. I mean, from here, you can't even see the Wendy's anymore, and all I'm seeing is just smoke everywhere.
Be watching for the rest.
The what?
It looks like people are just getting closer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that first night that you're talking about, that first night of protesting, and when we saw downtown businesses, the window shattered, this is probably the most similar to what I saw that night and what you saw that night as well. So things definitely escalated quickly throughout the day from the time we first got out here and we saw, just one group protesting to what we're seeing right now.
The flames are contained and they did not spread anywhere else, thankfully. Right now, the police continue to block off this intersection here. The crowd was mostly right in front of the Wendy's where this all happened. They've been there for really 24 hours since this happened. There have been hundreds of people here throughout the day since the shooting, gathering, demanding justice. And right now, the crowd is starting to kind of thin out as the police department has really shown their force here with the riot shields and the masks and the police department in the intersection. My colleague Audrey Washington has been here literally all afternoon, all evening. She's a little closer to what's going on. I want to toss to her. What can you see from there, Audrey? Okay.
Yeah, she's at the corner of that lot right here, underneath the light bulb.
Okay.
I forgot it's doors. I'm going to keep taking a picture. to walk down the crossing? Yeah, we can. Well, let's go, yeah, she's on the ground, southeast on the other side. Just go over.
Traffic and we'll focus. You can't go.
He's over here.
I'm just getting off to the side.
Okay, we're on the ground now in the intersection.
I mean, I wonder if we should go like to the beside the police line. So like the police won't let them cross, but.
Okay, we're on the ground now. Yeah. We are at the gas station.
Oh man.
Good time, straight on.
It's like a broken record now.
I'm telling you, man, I was out eating for my wife. Well, I was on the way to for my wife. Oh yeah, hey.
I wonder what Rashad was doing when the police killed him.
What'd you say? You gonna pay me $1,000?
I'll
I'll be glad to take it.
So I shot him in the back. That's fucked up. You can't get no dinner with his family.
Hey, God bless you, man.
Yeah, I know he do every day.
Have a good night. Just make sure you don't get the road, okay?
No, I ain't got shit to do with that.
Well, most of the crowd has thinned out since we've been here, but there is definitely more police than there were when we first got here. As you can see, the police have surrounded this intersection. They've taken over it, and they're trying to keep the protesters at bay. They are blocking any kind of access to the Wendy's, where firefighters are still there now trying to put out hotspots. But right now, the police are maintaining this line. These are heavily guarded police officers. They have face shields. They have the shields in their hands at the front. And we're dealing with what appears to be about 100 people that remain in the intersection that are chanting, "Arrest the cops, prosecute the police," because there have been recommendations from the mayor to prosecute the police officers.
Officer Devin Bronson, who was hired in September of 2018, and Officer Garrett Rolfe, it's R-O-L-F-E, hired in October 24th of 2013. Those are the officers that were involved. Atlanta police telling me that it is Officer Rolfe, or Ralph if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is the one that has been terminated. Again, the officers' names, Devin Bronson and Garrett Rolfe. Former Officer Rolfe is the one that has been fired. That information breaking into our newsroom right now at 12:37. We're going to go back now to the ground just to see exactly what's going on. Yasmina Alston, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Brittany, so we just missed it here a couple of minutes ago. Everyone was shouting Black Lives Matter. We're still in that same location that we were in the last time that we spoke with you guys, and you can hear now that there's music and some chanting as well. And again, there's even a small group over here that's still having that dialogue with police. So that's what we're seeing over in this area. I'm sure you can hear some of the drumming that's going on now. And again, some of the protesters were chanting Black Lives Matter here not too long ago. So there's still a lot of energy out here. Again, this is a little bit different from what we saw earlier in the afternoon, but there's still a good crowd out here. Brittany?
All right, Yasmina, any indication when this may be over? You told me that the protests were really growing in terms of the numbers there. I don't know if you have a chance to talk to anybody, maybe in the last hour or so, or at some point today. Was this the plan, or do they plan on staying out there for this long?
So when we first got out here for the initial protests that were happening at the intersection, we did have some people tell us, you know, hey, this is going to go late into the night. And we saw that happening. You know, once we saw the damage start at Wendy's and we saw nightfall come, that's when we saw more things starting to happen out here and a little bit more activity. Of course, the interstate being shut down. So people did say that in the beginning. They did say that, you know, as night came around, that there would be more activity out here.
Well, you can see the animated gestures of that police officer on the left-hand side who's been engaging with some of the protesters, shaking his head there at whatever it is that he's hearing. You know, in the past, when we have watched the police break these crowds up, it has been because a curfew was in place. Tonight, there is no curfew. So there really is no way for police to send people home and use a curfew as a reason for clearing the streets. So if things were to escalate and if police were to resort to other more aggressive tactics with these protesters, they will not be able to use the curfew as part of the reasoning behind it because, again, there's no curfew in place tonight. Whether that is the case tomorrow, whether the mayor will put in place a curfew for Sunday night remains to be seen. Bobeth Yates is down among the protesters as she has been. Bobeth, describe the scene for us.
Well, Rick, it's up and down. Right now, it seems like it's calmed down just a bit. Protesters no longer yelling. That young lady that had the stage came back, and right now you just see like a little bit of dialogue. They're talking to one officer, and you know, both sides seem to be a little animated, but the fact with either the officers hearing and the protesters hearing. So I think that's always positive because it's definitely calmed down compared to what it was just a moment ago. And this side, though, is definitely calmer. We are seeing some protesters start to slowly leave. A couple people told us earlier that they're heading home. Right now, there's like another group just starting to walk away. But, you know, there's still a good crowd out here. I would say at least 100 or so, a couple hundreds. So, you know, we've seen protesters leave and we saw some officers leave, but there's still a good number of them out here.
All right, Bobeth, as we take a look at these scenes, and it's just so reminiscent, Brittany, of what we have been watching over the last couple of weeks. The location is different. This is further downtown, south of downtown. As opposed to right on Centennial Olympic Park Drive in Marietta, where we saw a lot of the other protests sort of centered near the park there. This is a different part of town, and of course, the reason why these protests are taking place there is because this was the scene on Friday night of the death of a 27-year-old black man at the hands of police officers. This is a man named Rayshard Brooks, the father of 3 young girls who evidently had fallen asleep in his vehicle at the takeout line or the drive-through window line of a Wendy's on University in this neighborhood. The police were called to the scene, and it resulted in Mr. Brooks dying there after being shot by police officers. The video that we have seen is about to be supplemented by new video, Brittany, that you've learned is about to be released and hopefully soon. And that will show us the body camera video from the officers who were involved in this. And that, is something that's relatively new. Body cameras on police officers is becoming more and more widespread around the country. And it's so helpful to have these images in cases like this, because you do get not the full picture, but you get just more information behind what it is that led up to a confrontation between law enforcement and a member of the public. You get to see it from a camera that is running and operating on the uniform of the officers who were involved in this. And just to go over and to to repeat what Brittany has been able to report just within the last several minutes, confirm that the two officers involved in this Friday night altercation were Devin Bronson and Garrett Rolfe. And it's Officer Rolfe who has been fired from the force. Apparently, it was from his weapon, it was from his gun that those deadly shots were fired. But again, we're coming up on 1:45 on Sunday morning. The weather outside is it's a beautiful evening. So, I mean, for people that want to be a part of the action and witness history, you do understand in a lot of ways why people would want to come out and be a part of it and see it with their own two eyes, especially if they live nearby.
Absolutely. And, one thing, we've been mentioning the similarities to the protests over the past few weeks and things that we have seen before. But one thing that we have not seen before in the city of Atlanta when it comes to protesting the shooting and killing of black men in our country is a 24-hour protest. Usually protesters go home, they come back maybe in the morning, or they come back around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They descend upon Centennial Olympic Park. But people have been protesting, different groups have been protesting since 12 o'clock Saturday morning. And now it's past 12 o'clock Sunday morning. And we saw really protests all over the city, ultimately ending here in front of that Wendy's that is now just really probably just a frame, if that, charred and burnt from the fire that we saw that was just going for hours there. So this is a different type of protest in that way, Rick, in that this has been going on for so long, which really points to how fed up people are, how tired they are, but not tired enough to go home, because this is something that draws up a lot of emotion, a lot of anger, a lot of grief, and a lot of passion, because so many people that are on the ground there think to themselves, this is from me being a black person and me also talking to people, this could be their son, this could be their dad, this can be their grandmother, this could be their sister, this could be anyone that they know. And so they're going to stay there, as Asmina Alston has told us, for as long as it takes until they get that justice that they feel they deserve.
Well, I think that as someone who is not black, but who has been asking himself and friends of mine, these questions over the last several weeks, as we all grapple with these issues and how best to respond to them. If this had been a white man sitting in his car, having fallen asleep at the drive-through window of a Wendy's, would he be alive right now? And I think that a lot of people would say yes. That confrontation between police and a white man, in a hypothetical situation, of course, would not have resulted in the death of that young man the way that it did on Friday night.
Right, and that's the inequality that so many people across the country are protesting. Let's get another look at our protesters here in Atlanta with Bobeth Yates. Her camera has been on the ground giving us this angle of sort of that line between protesters and the police. Has anything developed in the last few minutes, Bobeth, that you can tell us about?
No, I wouldn't say anything has developed. In fact, what I would say is that it's gotten a little lighter. I keep slowly seeing protesters trickle away. So it seems like they are actually trying to, go home. But again, there's still a large crowd here, and we're definitely seeing more dialogue between officers and protesters. One of those protesters that was having a heated conversation with officers earlier, they started laughing at some point, and their interaction just kind of lightened up, where earlier they were yelling and cursing at each other, or at least they were yelling and cursing at law enforcement. But now it seems like things have gotten a little bit less hectic. Folks are talking a little bit more, and in the midst of that, we're also seeing a lot of the crowd and protesters that were out here start to make their way back to their homes. So the crowd just seems to be a little bit lighter and gradually getting lighter and lighter. Another thing that I've noticed too is the demographic of the crowd. There have been a lot of younger people here. And by younger, I mean maybe high school age. So it seems, the crowd has, while it's still a mixed, I would say majority black, but the age group is definitely younger than what it was earlier. So Rick, I'll send it back to you unless you guys have any questions.
Well, Bobeth, we just watched we have a very good camera angle of one of the officers engaging in conversation with the protesters. You know, when we saw some of the protests taking place over the last several weeks, there was occasionally, Bobeth, someone who was sort of taking the lead. And occasionally you would see one of the protesters with a bullhorn, and that person would sort of give instructions to the crowd. Is there anybody out there right now tonight that seems to be running the show when it comes to these protesters, who seems to be sort of organizing things?
No, it does not seem like they have an actual like an organizer. I did see one young lady that was burning sage and trying to calm the crowd down, but I don't think she's an organizer. She's just one of those people that just kind of wanted to switch the mood because it was getting a little hectic. So she was standing at some points in between protesters and law enforcement and just kind of talking back, saying, no, calm down, and burning the sage. But as for someone directing everyone out here, no, it's almost like a free-for-all, and people are just, you know, approaching the line of law enforcement and interacting with them as they go. But for the most part, it's just a free-for-all. Again, the conversations have become a lot more civil, less yelling at each other, and a lot more communication. But it doesn't seem like someone is organizing this crowd.
And on the side of law enforcement, anybody telling the protesters that they've got to leave any particular time, or does it seem like law enforcement is content to let them stay as late as they want?
To be honest, I'm impressed with law enforcement. They've been yelled at and they've been cool. They're not telling the protesters to leave. Most of the interactions that I'm seeing with law enforcement and is just the dialogue of the conversation, because many of them have attacked law enforcement, saying, especially the black ones, saying you're not on our side. You know, you're supposed to be black. You're supposed to be protecting us. And for the most part, these law enforcement officers have just been communicating with the protesters, saying that's not the case and kind of explaining back and forth why. But if you look behind me, beyond this, we're seeing the Bearcat, I think that's what it's called, that was blocking the street, is now moving, so they're heading out too. And if you can see a lot of the officers on the highway, you can see them reversing, and they're heading away also. So it seems like more law enforcement officers are leaving the scene, and hopefully as they leave, the protesters may also leave, but we're seeing them thin out too on this end.
You take a look at the faces of those members of law enforcement, and you have to think about the tumult that the department has been through over the last just 24 to 48 hours. We have seen the resignation of the police chief, Erica Shields, who will be reassigned to another job within the department, but still, to lose your chief is a big deal. There is an interim chief in place, but you know that rank and file, you know, these law officers are dealing with the fact that there is going to be a leadership change at the top for them, and what this could possibly mean. And at the same time, as Bobeth said, they are acting in the most professional way that you could possibly imagine. I've yet to see any questionable behavior or gestures even on the part of law enforcement there, as they continue these conversations with, I guess, a dwindling number of protesters, but still protesters nonetheless, as we come up on 8 minutes before 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. Taking a look at these scenes now that we have been watching for hours, and Brittany pointing out that this is a protest that has lasted for about 24 hours. And so that is that's dedication, and it's also just, it shows the level of frustration, Brittany, that you talked about so eloquently. We have just been told that we have pictures of the officers who were involved. On the left-hand side is Officer Devin Bronson. He, we're told, is on administrative leave. On the right-hand side is Officer Garrett Rolfe, who has been fired. These two members of Atlanta Police Department who were involved in the altercation last night that resulted in the death, I should say Friday night, of Rayshard Brooks in the parking lot of a Wendy's fast food restaurant.
And just to give you some more information coming from Atlanta Police tonight, we know that former Officer Garrett Rolfe was hired October 24th of 2013. Officer Devin Bronson was hired September 20th of 2018. Once again, we do have the body cam video from both of those officers from the night that Brooks was shot and killed in the parking lot of that Wendy's. We are working to get it on air as soon as possible, but we want to let you know that we do have the body cam video, and that will add certainly to the GBI's investigation, and it'll also add to the number of other videos that we've seen just from witnesses, cell phone video. We also saw the surveillance video that we played over and over again coming from the Wendy's restaurant. So really all these videos together will be key pieces of evidence, as we've heard Bo Beth Yates say throughout the day, key pieces of evidence for the GBI investigation that is now underway. Of course, keep in mind the GBI is also investigating the case of Ahmaud Arbery. So they have a lot to do, especially here in Georgia, with all of these officer-involved shootings. On the left side of your screen, though, you're still seeing protesters face-to-face with Atlanta police officers. Their shields are still up, their helmets are still on, and they're still having that dialogue and those discussions that we really saw come to light in the past 2 weeks or so after those nights of tear gas and after those nights of rubber bullets in downtown Atlanta. And this has sort of been the tone and the nature of protests in the past few days, where you just saw officers choosing to have dialogue with those that are in front of them, and having that needed communication in hopes of maybe releasing some of that tension and easing some of that strain with officers in the community. We are approaching 1 o'clock in the morning, and just to let you know, we have come a very, very long way with these protests. We've been covering them since the sun was up, really, since early this morning. Speaking to the Brooks family, we moved on to protests at Centennial Olympic Park. We moved on to protests here in front of the Wendy's. We had a press conference with Vic Reynolds with the GBI today, where he talked about the investigation and the latest in the investigation, also asking for people to be patient with him as he continues to go through all of the nuts and bolts. And after that is done, he did say that he would do it quickly and then hand those that information over to the district attorney's office so that they can handle it. We do know Paul Howard also announcing today that they're also doing their own investigation, and he tweeted out earlier today that his own investigators were on the scene shortly after this happened. Remember, CBS 46 cameras were also there. We were the first news station on the scene shortly after 12 a.m. on Saturday, documenting what was happening, and that's when we saw the first protesters. Our photojournalist Aon Nettles saying that maybe 100 protesters were there or so for that first protest shortly after Mr. Brooks was shot and killed by the Atlanta police officer. So it's just been a very long day, and it doesn't look like it's letting up any time soon. Who knows what the rest of the weekend will hold as we continue to wait to air that body cam video from this incident, Rick.
Yeah, that will be interesting to watch, especially now that we've seen the faces of the two officers involved. And I wonder, now that we have seen their faces, if it makes sense to maybe go back and look at some of the surveillance video and the other images, the video of this altercation, now that we can sort of put a face to them and we have their names as well, just to see exactly what their roles were. It makes sense, at least just I'm guessing here, that it was Officer Rolfe who fired his weapon at Mr. Brooks, causing his death. And that's the reason why he has been fired outright, while the other officer involved has been placed on administrative leave. But we'll get that video back up for you. And again, this is going to be an investigation. GBI will be in the lead. That is typically the case when there are officer-involved shootings. But obviously here we have one that comes amid heightened tensions around the city, where there has been a lot of anger, a lot of emotion on the part of protesters and people all over when it comes to justice and equality for members of the minority community when it comes to their altercations or their interactions with law enforcement. Let's take a listen to Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, who spoke earlier on Saturday. She talked about the resignation of the police chief, Erica Shields. These were her words from Saturday afternoon.
While there may be debate as to whether this was an appropriate use of deadly force, I firmly believe that there is a clear distinction between what you can do and what you should do.
And so there was the mayor denouncing the actions of the police officers involved. And that on the left we saw very briefly was former police chief Erica Shields, who only a couple of weeks ago was receiving so much praise because of the way that she went out into the crowds and talked directly to the protesters and listened to their complaints.
We're going to head to Yasmina Austin. She has some activity on the ground. Yasmina?
Yeah, Brittany, we're seeing some heated exchanges here on the line where we're seeing Atlanta police, and then we're seeing protesters as well. And actually, a couple of minutes ago, on the other side of where we are, we had a car come through and start doing donuts in the intersection, which briefly got everyone's attention, but that car quickly took off. So if you can hear that dialogue happening, there's a woman here. She's obviously very upset. And then we've still got Atlanta police there on the other side as well. So we're just, waiting to see what happens. We have no idea how much longer we'll still be out here. So we've got the protesters here still the same crowd, if not a little bit smaller. So we'll, of course, keep you updated as things change. Brittany?
Yasmina, when that car was rolling through, we saw the tail end of it. What exactly happened? Were they there for just a few seconds? Were they in the middle of protesters?
No. So this was an intersection that's on the other side of where we were. And there are some people over there, just some bystanders. But the intersection was pretty clear as that car came through and did those donuts briefly and then took off again. So we're not really sure where that car came from. But that sort of got everyone's attention for a minute and then brought everyone back over to what you're looking at now.
Well, and you can hear it in their voices, and we have heard it in their voices for weeks and weeks now, and those voices cry out loud tonight in the early morning hours of a Sunday, and another difficult weekend in the city of Atlanta. You saw the protests when the person who died at the hands of police was in Minnesota. And these are the protests that we see now when the person who dies is here in Atlanta. It looks like there's some activity. Bobeth, what's going on there?
Yeah, right now we're walking, and you can see protesters seem to be walking onto the highway on 75. I'm going to get out of the way so you can see it, but they literally said they couldn't get on the other side, and all of the officers moved on this side. So now they're heading onto the entrance ramp of 75, and they seem to be walking there. Now, I don't know if once they get to the top of this hill, if they will be met by law enforcement, but the cars that were lining the street of the exit ramp has moved. So, but I don't know if it's clear at the very top of it. Right now, I would say a good 50 to 100 people are walking up to that exit ramp, and officers on the other side of the street have not moved. They continue to secure the on-ramp of 75 while this group goes forward to get onto the exit ramp of 75.
Bobeth, it looks like I see a flashlight up there. Is that police up at the top of that ramp?
I didn't make it all the way up yet, but it doesn't seem to, because it's not red and blue lights. It looks like white lights. So I'm assuming it is not law enforcement, and it is just one of the protesters shining a light.
Can you give us a shot of what officers are doing right now as these people walk onto the ramp? Are they next to you, that line of officers?
No, officers aren't doing anything. They're completely on the other side of the street. We're going to turn around. Oh, there is an officer up there? Okay, so I'm being told that at the top of that hill where our protesters are going, there is an officer but let's turn around. That is where, right now, and that is where protesters were. That's where the line was, and you can see that line of officers have not moved. But protesters continue to make their way up this hill onto the exit ramp of 75. There's a group right now running down. You see them running down, going over the barricade. But it does not appear. I still haven't seen police lights.
Bobeth, how many people would you say are making their way into the highway right now?
I would say upwards of 50.
Okay, so it's 104. We have 50 people going onto the highway.
Yeah, so there's about 50 people going on, and we saw like maybe 5 or so run for some reason, but it doesn't seem that the good majority of these people are coming back down.
All right, well, it does make sense perhaps that there could be law enforcement up at the top of that hill to keep the protesters from getting onto the highway, not wanting to have them shut the highway down, and that's what happened earlier in the evening on Saturday. And just sort of going through social media, Brittany, as we take a look, people driving and doing donuts there, right there in the middle of that intersection. And of course, that gets to be very dangerous. People driving that kind of speed, that kind of manner when there are so many people out and about on the streets. And so we hope that nobody gets hurt there. But a lot of talk on social media that I'm seeing about how the downtown connector in a lot of ways is symbolic of of the difficulties of the minority community here in Atlanta. And I must say that I'm not as well read on this as I should be, and as I will be once I get to do more research. But there is at least some interesting tidbits that I'm finding that this connector is, has sort of always been a sore point, mainly because of the way that it's
and he got to put hands on
divided
cops. That man could have just had a nice little week in jail, man. Had his trial date. Everybody go to fuck home,
right
but
there.
he got shot in the guy.
Someone has set another fire, which is not a good thing. Just when we thought that things might be beginning to calm down, there is another fire, and we don't know exactly what it is that's been set alight.
And Rick, I don't mean to interrupt you. We need to go to Yasmina Alston, who is also on the ground, can give us a different perspective as to what's happening. Yasmina?
Yeah, so a lot happening again. Water bottles being thrown again. And then if you look over here, it looks like behind this gas station near where that Wendy's is, we're seeing another fire. I'm not sure exactly what's on fire, but you can see the flames there. Is that what we're showing now? Yeah, so you can see those flames. And that same car that we told you about came back into the same intersection and did the donuts here again, which of course got a lot of attention from the crowd. So most of the crowd that we had over by the police, they are now over here in this intersection, and it looks like a lot of people are going down to where that fire is. So we'll work to figure out what's on fire down there. But you can see the flames, so another fire that we're seeing here tonight.
Yasmina, as we take a look at those flames, it's a little hard for us to get a sense of how close it is to the gas station there. Here are people running back down that ramp where Bobeth was a moment ago. But we want to make sure that the fire that we're seeing, Yasmina, is not too close to those gas stations.
Yeah, so this one doesn't look to be as close as the Wendy's was to that BP gas station. But again, you've got several gas stations at this intersection, and two in particular right in front of where I'm seeing those flames. So the question is just what exactly is on fire, and like you said, just how close to those gas stations is that fire. But from what we're seeing, they all look pretty close.
We were speaking earlier Saturday night with Sergeant Cortez Stafford with Atlanta Fire Rescue, and he told us this was when the Wendy's was still on fire. He told us that was a major concern, the fact that it was so close to gas stations nearby, that was something that they were keeping an eye on, because obviously if any of those gas stations were to have a fire, things would escalate, things would become much more serious very quickly. This is the scene there as yet another fire is burning.
And it looks like on the right side of the screen, that is Bobeth Yates' camera. It looks like some of the protesters may have walked back down that ramp that we saw them walking up just a few minutes ago. This is another angle of the fire that Yasmina Alston was just talking about. Keep in mind, we saw a number of fires that were set all around that Wendy's there earlier today before that Wendy's fire was set, and that entire building was engulfed in flames. And now we have this little fire here. Bobeth Yates, what can you tell us in terms of what's happened in the last few minutes?
Well, the group that actually ran up to the ramp, on the exit ramp of 75, they ran back down. They were met by law enforcement whose lights are now on, and they've definitely deployed what it seems to be like some sort of flash bomb or maybe tear gas, because the group came running very quickly back down. Now, on the other side, we're also seeing just people kind of scattered now. Before, where they were just kind of lining, along where the officers were on the on-ramp for 75, but now they're just all over the street on both sides of the highway, or of where University and 75 meet. But the crowd is thinning out.
All right, Bobette, if you can go back to the ramp, are officers making their way down, or are those protesters?
All protesters. Actually, that's not. It does seem like officers are walking them back down. You can see a group of officers bringing them down. A lot of these officers were lining the bridge right over 75 on University. But now those officers have come down, and they're kind of created a line similar to what we were seeing all morning on the other side, or all evening.
And how are protesters responding to those officers? We were questioning whether those officers were at the top of the on-ramp. Turns out they were. They're coming down right now, advancing towards those people that were trying to get on the highway. Again, how are they responding to officers moving towards them?
Not violently. They've been similar to what you've heard before, just, yelling, saying that, they're upset and yelling Black Lives Matter. But for the most part, they've been overall civil. At one point when they started coming down, they seemed afraid and they started yelling and running down. But for the most part, it seems like this group is running out of gas. A lot of people are sitting along the highway just, relaxing. They're not necessarily yelling at police officers. They're just kind of standing in front of them at this point.
All right, our Bobette Yates there live on the ground. We are now at 1:11 in the morning on Sunday. It's hard to believe that we've come this far, because we've had several hours of coverage at this point. We've had more than 24 hours of protests here in the city of Atlanta. We still have news crews on the scene. We still have protesters going strong as this protest goes strong. We just had another fire set not too long ago. Remember, we had the Wendy's that was just really taken over by flames, which has now been torched and charred and scorched as well. And then we also had several fires, smaller fires around that building, that restaurant, that have been set throughout the entire night. And this is right next to several gas stations, Rick.